Planning gives you your peace and your confidence back. Guys, when I was in my darkest moments, darkest hours, planning always, it never failed me. I could always get on the whiteboard. I could always get on a spreadsheet. I could always get on a sheet of paper and I could plan my way out of it. Every single Saturday, we do this call, and it's called Ambassadors of the Kingdom. Guys, I get really, really excited about this because the message is the same. The message is if you practice God's principles, you can participate in his promises. And if you guys can hear that, every single Saturday, type of AOTK in the chat box. Sometimes it's, God principles. Sometimes it's success principles. We really believe they're one and the same. We might be going over sales. We might be going over leadership. We might be going over just anything that can help you in any area of your life. This call is actually not company or product specific. It's just something that's designed to help you. So my hope would be that no matter where you're at in life, no matter what you're building, no matter what it is that you're aspiring to do, that this information would be beneficial to you. I highly recommend taking notes. Today we will be effective, not eternal. And I tell you, man, I'm excited. Right? Happy New Year. It's still early. It's still January. I believe it's the 14th. And we still have over half the month left. But the year is already going by fast. We only get 12 months in a year, and the first one is already almost half over. Okay, so the purpose of this call and the message is the power of planning. Okay, the power of planning. So the first thing, if you're thinking about what's the purpose of this call, how am I going to understand what it's all about? It's the power of planning. Okay, so the first thing, obviously, like, comment, subscribe if you're seeing the recording. If you get any value, guys, I would say at this time, partner together with everybody on the call. Think about somebody that you want to see grow, somebody you want to see win, somebody who you want to take with you to the top. Send this link out to them. Let them know we're live. Let them know we're getting started. Those of you guys who don't know, we do have a Discord server that drops the link for the Ambassadors of the Kingdom calls every single Saturday. You can join that from the Instagram page, from the story, but I'm going to go ahead and get into this information. So the first thing, guys, if you didn't know, I will bounce back and forth between the slides and, of course, just talking to you. Everything is going to be about change and planning. Everything I discuss with you today will be in regards to change and planning. So the first thing that I want you to understand, guys, change is the only thing that's actually constant in this world. Change is the only thing that's constant in life. How many of you guys have ever been bothered by change? I think this is one of the biggest things that throws people off is their job changes. Their hours at their job changes. Their health changes, right? Their relationship status changes. Where they live changes. Change is the only thing in our life that's guaranteed. It's the only thing that cannot be avoided. So if you cannot manage change, you can't actually manage your life. It's not about things not changing, because that's what frustrates most people. They say they're upset because they can't control what's changing and what's not changing. But the truth is, life is, in a sense, like a river. It's always moving. It's always flowing. It's always changing. It's simply a series of changes. So it's not about saying, I don't want things to change. It's about when they change, do you have the proper reaction to it? And again, if you're building something on this call, which I know all of you are, right? Whether that's with one business, another industry, even if you're just looking at building a life, one of the biggest things you have to be equipped to do is change at all times. I remember getting started in my career and in my journey, something would change that would literally throw me off for days, weeks, sometimes months, because I didn't know how to react to change. Now, if it's regarding change, I want you to know, even your present can't be trusted. Somebody says, what does that mean? Well, planning is your only escape from your past and your present. Your present literally just left you. So even if you're looking at being content with the life that you've created, how many of you guys have ever gotten comfortable before? I know for me, that's the first time I ever had success 3 years ago. I thought everything was going to just stay the way it was. I thought everything was just going to keep flowing the way that, I had built it. But what I learned is that I always, always, always had to be planning for my future. The moment you stop planning for your future is the moment you start returning to your past. So regardless of how comfortable you are at your job, no matter how comfortable that you are in your business, in your life, failure to plan, you're planning to fail. So the only way to avoid change is to stop living. Now, the next thing that you want to understand, change is the law of life. And no matter what you're looking to create, you want to think about, what do I want to create for my future? What do I want to create for my life? Where do I want to go next? This is something that you should always be doing. It should always be a part of your process. It should always be a part of your routine. How many guys made New Year's resolutions? Yes, no? Let me know in the chat. You don't have to call it a New Year's resolution. How many guys have goals? I know me, I don't really make resolutions because I already had goals. But yes, I was thinking about what I wanted for this year. I was thinking about what I wanted for January. I can see where I want to be by the end of the month. Can anybody see where they want to be by the end of the month? There's a quote by Dwight D. Eisenhower. He says, "Neither a wise man nor a brave man lies down on the tracks of history to wait for the train of the future to run over him." Let me explain what that means in layman's terms. If you don't start planning for your future, if you don't start planning for what you want for the rest of the month, for the rest of the year, that's guaranteed failure. The difference between people who win and fail is people that have goals. Winners always have goals. If someone asks you, well, what do you want for yourself over the next 2 weeks, over the next month, over the next year, and you don't know the answer, it's not the end of the world, but it means that you got to gain clarity on where you want to be. You have to start planning. Y'all can't see them, but right over there, I got 2 whiteboards. Why? Because I'm always writing a new plan. I'm erasing and I'm creating a new plan. Okay. There's another quote by Helen Keller, and it says, "Security is mostly a superstition." And I'm telling you this, don't wait until you experience it to realize that it's true. But just because you've been able to accomplish something doesn't mean that you get to keep that something. Success is earned every single day. Success is never owned, it's only rented, and the rent is due every single day. How many guys ever had a good month in life? You ever had a good month in business? You ever had a good month of growth? Things were going well, things were going your way. You were at an all-time high. But it's not like it was that month. Or maybe the next month wasn't like the previous month. What you want to understand about success, what you want to understand about life, what you want to understand about accomplishing achievement, whatever you want to call it, security is mostly a superstition. It's not real. So don't look for security, right? Always be planning for what you're going to do next. You should be suspicious anytime you feel secure. Plan for what you're going to do next, create your future. And this is why we have faith in God, because God never changes. But when you trust in a job, when you trust in, what already happened, the past, then of course, again, things always change. So again, embrace change, understand change is always going to happen. And then in addition to that, decide to change. So don't just understand that change is happening in your life, but actually decide to change. Make a decision. I'm going to change. I'm going to plan. Okay. Why do I say that? If you ever have an opportunity to do something big in your life, take advantage of it. I think most people, I've thought about this before. I said, man, what if I wasn't as ambitious? What if I didn't take so many risks? I could live a life that was so much more even keel, a life that was so much more, I think it would be boring. But you know, a lot of people chase security. They don't want to go out there and achieve this and push for the stars and reach for the dreams because it's too much changing. But what I would tell you is that if you don't ever plan for your future, if you don't have any vision for your future, if you don't take any risk, if you're not willing to change, then you'll never have an adventure. The way you want to think about it is this. If you have to ask yourself, should I do this or should I not do this? Just tell yourself, I'm going to be dead for a long time. Okay. That's how I make decisions sometimes. I'm like, you know what? I can sleep when I'm dead. Okay. I can rest when I'm no longer here. But right now, while you have the opportunity, make a decision that you're going to do something out of the ordinary. You're going to go the extra mile. You're going to go for that ambitious goal. If you fall in love with security, you'll never have an adventure. Guys, another thing that they asked Helen Keller, she's blind. They asked her, they said, what's worse than not having sight as a blind woman? And she said, having no vision. And a lot of us, and follow me here, we rely too much on what we see. We see that maybe our business isn't growing. We see that maybe we don't have the money to afford that car, to afford that house. We see that our life doesn't look the way that we want it to look. But the reality is, what you see is not where you're going. What you see is just maybe where you are. But vision is your escape from the past. Vision is your escape from your present. Don't live a life by what you see. Live a life by what you can envision. I like to say, close your eyes and go to the future. That is something that I've done throughout my career, something I've done throughout my life, something that has absolutely helped me, that most people are not willing to do, is close their eyes and look to the future, even when what's going on around them doesn't look the way they want it to look. Does that make sense? Type of AOTK in the chat. Let me know. Okay. Your eyes end up destroying vision. Another, actually a scripture I want to share with you guys, Romans 12:2 says, do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This, when I look at this, I get excited about it because it tells me I can transform my life by renewing my mind again and again and again and again, by planning for the future again and again and again, by creating a new vision again and again and again. The vision is what allows you to create a new life. I had an individual, he was talking to me the other day. He says, man, I just, how do I begin to change my mindset? And I'm not going to tell you everything that he was going through, but he was going through a lot of personal stuff. He had a lot of stuff that was going on in his family, family members having health issues. His parents, were dealing with issues in their relationship. He was having financial issues. Everything was hitting him at once. He was asking me, he said, man, what do I do to be able to change my mindset? What can I do to be able to change my mentality? How do I get myself out of this mental rut? And guys, the beautiful thing I love is no matter how bad your life gets, no matter how bad things are looking, you can always renew your mind. You can always change the way you see things. You can't change that it happened to you. You can't change what already is done. But what you can do is change the way that you interpret it. You can change the way you think about it. Does that make sense? Type of AOTK in the chat. And I hope with everything in me that you receive that message, no matter who you are, no matter where you're watching from. We all go through things. Life gets tough. I mean, it's crazy, guys. A lot of us think leaders don't go through anything. A lot of us look at mentors and we say, oh, well, they've never experienced anything and, their life is so much easier. Everybody goes through things and everybody doesn't always know. But when you look at a winner, when you look at somebody that you probably admire, I want you to understand that person has the ability to renew their mind over and over and over. They can move from failure to failure without the loss of enthusiasm. That's the key. That's what's going to change everything. Okay. 8 responses to change that people have. You can resist change. Okay. You can ignore change. You can accept change. You can adjust to change. You can manage change. You can become a victim of change. Not good, right? You can prepare and plan for change. You can initiate change. Those are 8 different ways that you can actually respond to change. And again, I'll let you guys take that down if you want. The recording will be up so you guys can go back and see this. But you can resist it, you can ignore it, you can accept it, you can adjust to it, manage it, become a victim of it, prepare and plan for it, or you can initiate it. Okay? But the way that you guys want to focus on it, I want to talk to you about the need for change. Unless you're willing to give up something valuable, you'll never truly be able to change. So the reason why I want to talk about this is a lot of us, the reason why we don't want to change is because we're afraid to give something up that we feel is too valuable. It's too risky to give up this season of my life. It's too risky to give up my evenings after I get off my 9 to 5. It's too risky, to give up my job for my business. And I'm not saying give up your job for your business yet. Okay. A lot of us, we say, oh, well, the time I would spend doing this thing or that thing, we all have our vices, things that we like to do. We start thinking that those are more valuable than what it is that we actually dream of. And if that's the case, you'll forever be bound by your current life. You'll never be able to have a new life. You'll never be able to go towards the future. You'll never be able to experience more. You'll be like the vast majority of the population that literally settles in life, which is kind of sad, but I'm just being real. Most people live an average life. Does anybody want an above average life type of AOTK? If you want an above average life, you have to be willing to give up the average life. How many of you guys have seen that illustration where the little girl has the bear behind her back? Okay. And then God, I think, it's actually Jesus who's right in front of her. And he says, give me the bear. And the girl doesn't want to give up she doesn't want to give up the bear. Mind you, it's a really small bear. She can fit it behind her back. But Jesus, behind his back, he has a supersized teddy bear. And little does she know, if she's willing to give up her bear, he's going to give her something much bigger. I would submit to you that a lot of us, that's how it is in our lives. Regardless of the teddy bear example, what is it that you have that you're not willing to give up so God can't give you what he has for you because you're so stuck on what you have, you can't get what he has for you? What are you holding on to so tightly? Guys, I want to tell you something. This process has repeated for me over and over and over, but every time I want a new life, I've had to give up my old life. Every time I wanted a new network, I had to let go of my old toxic network. Every time I wanted the elevated lifestyle, I had to let go of the comfortability I had in my previous lifestyle. Every time I wanted a new business, I had to give up the way that I was operating in my old business. Make sense? So unless you're willing to give up something valuable, you will never be able to truly change. Okay? The need for change. So one key to successful leadership is a quote by Robert E. Quinn. One key to successful leadership is continuous personal change. Personal change is a reflection of our inner growth and empowerment. Why do I want to break that down to you? Those of you on the call who aspire to be great leaders, which is, again, the vast majority of you. Actually, it should be everybody. You watch an AOTK, everybody should be aspiring to be a great leader. One of the biggest ways that you know you're a good leader is if you're consistently changing. Why? The law of the lid. If you're not changing, guess who's not changing behind you? Everybody following you. If you're not changing, if you're not growing, guess who is not able to grow and change with you? Your team. Okay. Another quote by James Belasco and Ralph Steyer says, change is hard because people overestimate the value of what they have and underestimate the value of what they may gain by giving that up. Put it in layman's terms. We think what we have is so valuable. We clutch onto it so tight. We don't want to give it up. because we don't understand that what happens when we give it up is so much greater. Okay. So again, I want every single person on this call, I want you to begin to focus and ask yourself, what am I holding on to tightly that I will not give up? What am I holding on to that I'm not willing to let go of? Guys, I mean, I'm gonna just be real with you. I used to spend a lot of time doing recreational stuff I just don't do anymore. I'm not gonna say, like, again, we all have our different things, but I used to spend a lot of time doing things that were not bringing me towards where I want to be. You know, a lot of people in this world, they love, look, let me just ask a question, man. How many of y'all love your entertainment? A lot of us love our entertainment, okay? We love being entertained. We love to watch stuff just because it's dramatic. We love to watch stuff just because it gets us laughing. We love to watch stuff just because it passes the time. It makes us feel good. Entertainment. A lot of us need to substitute some of the time that we're spending just being entertained, and we need to exchange that for time being educated. Guys, I used to spend hours on entertainment. Not to say that I don't spend time with entertainment today, but a lot of those hours, now I spend getting educated. I spend studying. I'm listening to the right people. The time I used to spend playing games or doing whatever I used to do is now spent growing, stretching my mind, stretching my vision, growing my database when it comes to, again, the wisdom of people who have done what it is that I want to do. Okay. So what are you holding on to so tightly that you won't let it go? Okay. So that you can go to your next level. Is it sleep? Right? Is it 1 hour of sleep, waking up earlier every day, or even staying up later every single day that you're working on yourself, that you're working on you? What is it that you're holding on to so tightly that you can't let go of that's keeping you back from where it is that you want to go next? Okay. Now, another thing I love is the story of Joseph in the Bible. Joseph in the Bible, they thought they had abandoned Joseph. They thought that they had left Joseph. Okay. Joseph actually came out of the coat that he was wearing, the coat of many colors, and he entered into a royal robe. He went from the ditch to the royal palace. Change, ladies and gentlemen. So something that man means to harm you, because some of us have been hurt by people. Anybody been hurt by other people? You've been hurt by people in your life, people that you love, people you thought loved you, people that you thought cared about you, people that you thought you had a connection with. What man means to harm you, God can use to promote you. Sometimes God will allow man to break your spirit so that he can save your soul. You got to ask yourself, is what it is that's happening to me right now, is the change that's taking place around me, is the things that's moving and shifting around me, is this possibly to change me? Sometimes the changes in your life is meant to change you so that when you get what it is that you want, you don't lose it. Before God changes where you are, he first has to change who you are so that when you get to where you're going, you can stay there. That's the way you want to internalize change. That's the way you want to interpret change. The only thing, okay, to controlling and regulating time is planning, ladies and gentlemen. So you can't slow time down. You can't speed it up. You can't alter it. It's going to pass with or without any of us. But what we can do when it comes to controlling and regulating time is planning, ladies and gentlemen. I always bring the scripture I love, Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2. Write the vision and make it plain upon tablets, so that he that sees it may run, so that he may run that readeth it. Write the vision and make it plain. Without a plan, you become a victim of the currents. Guys, a plan is how you run your entire life. That's how I base everything I do. All my decisions are based upon my master plan. Should I hang out with these people? I don't know. Does it match the plan? Okay. Should I spend time talking on the phone to this person for more than 5 minutes a day? I don't know. Does it match up with the plan? Should I present myself this way? I don't know. Does it match up with the plan? Should I post this on social media? I don't know. Does it match with the plan? Should I watch this, spend time consuming this? Does it match up with my plan? Okay, this is the way that you want to live your life. But if you don't have a plan, ladies and gentlemen, you can't even have proper decision making. Okay, there's a quote that says, only dead fish go with the flow. Okay, so don't just go through life aimlessly. Don't be a wandering generality, be a meaningful specific. Too many wandering generalities in this world, not enough meaningful specifics. Okay. Most people would rather settle for for known hells as opposed to pursuing unknown heavens. Most people would rather just settle for what they know, even if it's terrible. Okay. 7 keys to management of time. So 7 keys to management of time. Number 1 is going to be the effective management of time and change. So again, managing time and managing change. You can't change time, but you can manage it. Key to management of time is planning. So again, if you're taking notes, planning, always be planning. Planning is one of the most important principles to success. Okay, so whatever you're looking to accomplish, are you planning for it? The only regulator of time is change. The only regulator of time and change is planning. Again, so without a plan, time and change will ruin your life. Again, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So always, always, always be planning. Okay. Another thing, when it comes to planning, I love the scripture, Proverbs 16:9 says, the heart of a man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. Let me explain that. What does that mean? That means that if things aren't going the way you want to go, if you don't have what it is that you want to have, you got to ask yourself, do you have a plan? Because God wants us to have the plan. If we have the plan, he'll order our steps. We don't have the plan, there's nothing for him to work on. Somebody says, well, if God wanted me to have it, then I would have it. Are you doing your part? Okay. Without God, man cannot. But without man, God will not. Okay, I'm going to say that again slowly. Without God, man cannot. But without man, God will not. Are you doing your part? If you want God to guide you, you must have a plan first. The changes in your life are meant to change you. Again, so don't look at what's happening to you as a negative thing. It's always growing you. It's always molding you. It's always shaping you. I can recall times in my life, things were terrible. I thought they were terrible. No, they were pretty terrible. Okay. Pretty harsh conditions. But what it made of me, I would never change it. What it made of me, how it changed me, how it molded me, I would never take it back. Okay. When you ask for a loan from the bank, the first thing they want to ask you for is a business plan. What's your plan? What are you actually aiming to do? What's your action steps? What are you about to execute before they give you any money at the bank? In the same way, God wants to know what's your plan. Because if you give me a plan, then I'll order your steps. Make sense? Type of AOTK in the chat. Okay, planning is the highest expression of divine nature. I want you guys to understand that God planned the death of Jesus. It was a plan. Planning gives you your peace and your confidence back. Planning is how you guys, when I was in my darkest moments, darkest hours, planning always, it never failed me. Why? Because I could always get on the whiteboard. I could always get on a spreadsheet. I could always get on a sheet of paper and I could plan my way out of it. But if you're not planning, guys, you cease to move forward in life. Now you're stuck in your present. Now, no matter how devastating things are, no matter how much things suck, you're stuck. Okay? Guys, unlike animals, God has given us the unique creative ability to go out there and build a new future, to have a vision towards the future, to be able to plan our lives. This is the power of planning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the power of being able to get on the drawing board, put down the X's and the O's, and map out a plan. Okay? Proverbs, and I'm going to end on this. Proverbs 21:5 says, the plans of the diligent man, okay, the plans of the diligent lead to profit. Surely as haste leads to poverty. How many guys get excited about profit? Type of AOTK in the chat. I think that's enough. Okay, the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. I don't know if it could be said more clearly. Okay, so the decision not to decide is still a decision. The decision not to plan is still a decision. The decision that you're not going to think about tomorrow before the end of today is still a decision. And if that's the decision that you make, ladies and gentlemen, again, just know that if you do make a decision to plan, if you do make a decision to think about what it is that you want for your future and constantly move toward that, that's going to be your escape from the past. That's going to be your reassurance. That's going to be your confidence. That's going to be your guarantee. When it comes to success, I like to guarantee my success. Okay, I don't like to wonder if it's going to happen. I don't like to just sit back and wait. The way that you can guarantee that 2023 is the best life that you've ever, is the best year of your life, that this year is your best year, is going to be understanding the power of planning. Planning out every single month, executing a game plan every single month, and you take it from month to month, week to week, and day to day, and you'll see yourself in an entirely new place. Ladies and gentlemen, again, if you're watching the recording, like, comment, share, subscribe, tell somebody else about us, join the AOTK Discord server for free in the link in bio on the Instagram page. You guys know it. I love each and every single one of you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I will see you next Saturday.